Thanks, Sylvester. Also want to thank Cindy for helping me line things up here. Also want to tip my hat to my man, Stephen Nutting, who played lacrosse for me and also works for me during the summer. And he's probably in the middle of that pile, that high five pile after a goal or something. But it's an important part of what we do as well. Corrigan Sports Enterprise, I'm going to show you a number of videos, and then we're going to go through a PowerPoint so you understand how we go about trying to sell sponsorships for our very big events. One of them, of course, is the Baltimore Marathon, which is a gigantic event. And one of the things I did do today is I brought everybody a T-shirt. So at the end of this thing, there's going to be a quiz, and we're going to put my man, the Nutter, on the hot seat. And if he answers the question correctly, everybody gets an Under Armour Baltimore Marathon shirt. If he doesn't, nobody gets one. So the pressure's on the Nutter. No pressure. So first thing I want to do is I want to show you a little video. And this is really kind of tells the story of who we are and what we do in a very quick snapshot.
Corrigan Sports Enterprises is a full-service sports marketing and event management company. Every detail from public relations to logistics and cleanup, CSE is experienced in handling events from conception to fruition. The premier lacrosse recruiting tournaments, high-profile running events, CSE does it all. Corrigan Sports Enterprises, bringing your dreams to life.
So that's something that really tells the story of who we are. A little hokey corporate slogan is events from conception to fruition, which is just a fancy way of saying we dream up all the events, and then we do all the public relations, the marketing, the advertising, the promotion, and then to take it one step forward, we do all the operations and logistics, which takes a lot of stuff out of the hands of others. I was telling Sylvester earlier before we got started here, the reason we do that is because in the past we had relied on Old Anybody, and Old Anybody, he let us down before. So we decided that we weren't going to leave our fate in the hands of Old Anybody. So we'd handle everything from start to finish. That means when you come to the Baltimore Marathon, you'll see me talking to the mayor, you'll see me picking up trash. And that's cool with me because we're in control of every little single aspect of the event. So it makes it really easy for us when we go out and we sell sponsorships. I'm sitting there selling that sponsorship, and I know that that guy's sponsorship is going to be fulfilled because I'm probably going to be the guy putting those banners up and making sure his PAs are being read by the announcer and make sure his TV spots are being run on television. So next I'm going to show you a presentation that I just did for Bank of America. We're trying to sell the title sponsorship of the Baltimore Marathon. So fingers crossed, knock on wood, all you guys get your positive mojo going for me. That is trying to sell the Baltimore Marathon to Bank of America to make it the Bank of America Baltimore Marathon. And so what we did in-house, where we have a television production studio and a very clever guy, is we put together an entire presentation so the CEO of Bank of America could tell what it would look like.
Taking the time out of your busy day to show up for the 14th annual Baltimore Running Festival.
Starts and finishes right outside Camden Yards there, 27,000 total runners. So it's very impactful for the community. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But this is really designed to really give the people from Bank of America an idea of what it looks like and feels like, as opposed to just simply showing them a PowerPoint presentation, which I also have to show you here too. And it'll really give them a good feel for how they're going to be presented.
As the title sponsor of the Baltimore Marathon and Running Festival, Bank of America will be headed in the right direction. The 2015 Bank of America Baltimore Running Festival will have 5 hours of live TV coverage on WBAL-NBC. The running festival will benefit from the months of promotional signage in the form of 200 street pole banners, and Bank of America will be the first thought of our database of over 170,000 dedicated runners who enjoy our creative email blasts on a regular basis. We created the Running Festival 14 years ago to give Baltimore an event that it can be proud of and a vehicle to promote wellness and benefit local runners, organizations, and charities. The 2014 Baltimore Running Festival saw 27,000 folks participate, and the streets of the Jarden City lined by over 200,000 spectators. However, Bank of America knows that life is not a spectator sport, and by partnering with Corrigan Sports, Bank of America will be linked to an event that our city is proud of and an event they can runners support all year round, not just on race day. From our months of pre-race marketing consisting of hundreds of...
One little thing on that picture of the girl is holding the Michelob Ultra. In the background, of course, that's M&T Bank Stadium. And when we first created this, I said, hey, we're pitching Bank of America. Can we adjust and slide the picture down so we don't hit them right in the face with their competition? It's a small little thing.
To the greater Baltimore region, much of those funds were from the dedicated fitness enthusiasts who are fiercely loyal to the companies that support their lifestyle. The Baltimore Running Festival helped raise over $1.3 million for local charities in 2014. This is an event that the Bank of America can use to promote their checking accounts, credit cards, home loans, and small business services to the entire region. Help your marketing dollars go the extra mile by partnering with Corrigan Sports and the 2015 Baltimore Running Festival.
So that was the presentation that I made the other day for the CEO of Bank of America. He was so excited, he stood up and cheered. But he obviously gave him a very good feel for what our event's all about. Then I wanted to show you something that we're also doing with our business in the area of videos, and we created all of our own television commercials, once again, because I don't want to rely on anybody, all right? And so staying with our little corporate slogan, events from conception to fruition, we create our own television commercials, and this is one of them. It's designed, you guys and girls that watch ESPN, you'll see that it's kind of ESPN-y commercial-like, and that's exactly what we were going for. It features our Baltimore Marathon mascot, who's Blue the Crab, who Stephen Nutty is the star of this because he's actually in the costume. But you'll get a kick at it.
I think Pugh just finished training with us. He's been in there a little while. Really? Huh. Sorry, guys. Oh, whoa, I'm sorry.
He's showering, so that was rude of me. And you see, he's got Old Spice or Old Bay. What's he going to choose? He shakes the Old Bay on him. He's ready to go. Track some beautiful young female crabs. But that's the kind of stuff that we're trying to do to engage our audience a little bit, not just on television commercials, but videos that are constantly playing on our website to keep them excited. So, wanted to show you this presentation. By the way, me and technology, we just don't get along, so bear with me on all this. So far, it's going really, really well, which is a shocker. But there's a good picture of the Baltimore Marathon, and for my money, it's Baltimore's best event. It is truly engages the entire community. It's something we're really, really proud of. And this is part of our regular presentation. I didn't want to go through the whole title sponsorship proposal of Bank of America, but what I did want to show you guys is a lower level sponsorship that I pitched them. That is the Charity Chaser, and I'll talk about why it's so great here. One of the first things you want to do when you're making a proposal to a big company is you want to give them the who, what, where, when. And our race date is always the second or third weekend in October. Our races, you heard in the presentation, the video presentation, that our event is called a running festival. And that is simply a way for us to expand our audience very, very quickly. Finding people that run 26.2 miles is not easy. They do not grow on trees. But everybody in this room could probably run a 5K tomorrow, right? So what we do have is we have a marathon, we have a half marathon, we have a team relay, which is 4 people running the full distance, we have a 5K, and we have a kids fun run. That way we engage the entire community, and that's what has helped bolster our numbers up to 27,000 runners very, very quickly. Celebration Village near the finish line at M&T Bank Stadium, which is nothing but a big old party. It's all the runners there and all their friends and family. They come, they enjoy a couple free beers, and then they get the, we have some live music. We have a lot of fun and games for the kids, and it turns into quite the festival. Health and Fitness Expo, which is the 2 days prior to the event, which is where every single runner goes to pick up their bib and their awesome Under Armour shirt as well that they get when they sign up. Here's the course, and you can see it, it starts and finishes down there by the stadium complex, and it goes all over the city of Baltimore. I have a quick story to tell you about the mayor of Baltimore, who's a gentleman named Kurt Schmoke. This kind of gets back to my roots as a lacrosse guy and a lacrosse coach. Kurt Schmoke was a gentleman who was the mayor of Baltimore. And before we started the Baltimore Marathon, Baltimore was the very biggest city in the country that did not have a major running event. Okay? And so we put our finger on that and said, oh my God, there's a market here. Marine Corps Marathon sells out every year, 25,000 people, right? Philadelphia sells out 25,000 every year. So Baltimore should be successful, right? So how am I going to sell that? Well, I got to get in front of the mayor. I got to sell them on the economic impact. I got to sell them on the charity. I got to sell them on the great PR. So I go and see, I get an audience with Kurt Schmoke because Kurt Schmoke played lacrosse with my father back at Yale University back in the 60s. So that's how I get into Mayor Schmoke's office. And I sing my song about the economic impact, about the great charity, about the great PR for the city, and he buys off on it. He tells me 2 things. So the first thing is you can't do it on Sunday, because if you do it on Sunday and you disrupt all those churches, those church leaders will come and they will hang me outside City Hall. And the second thing he said is you have to go around the whole city. You just can't go up to Johns Hopkins, beautiful Johns Hopkins, and back to the Inner Harbor, because we want to show off the whole city. Because we believe in City Hall, Baltimore, that Baltimore is a great place with all kinds of interesting, authentic neighborhoods. And we believe that if people come to Baltimore and experience it in that way, they'll come back. People that don't know about Baltimore, Baltimore has a tough reputation, right? We all know The Wire and all the different shows that have depicted Baltimore in a very tough manner. The reality is nicer than the perception, and that's what he was banking on. So that's how the whole thing came about and came together, and that's the way we sold it. A couple things for you that are very, very important to recognize: community relations and economic impact. $1.4 million was generated for charity from this event just last year. Over $15 million over the course of the entire history of the event has been generated for charity, which is probably one of the few reasons I'll get into heaven, right? Hopefully, I got a shot. Then the reason why the politicians love us is really simple, and that is that $40 million of economic impact is driven every single year by this event. That's people coming from all over the United States, all over the world to Baltimore to participate. And of course, when they come, they stay in hotel rooms, they rent cars, they fly in, they have meals, they buy stuff, etc. You add it all up, and it's about $40 million. So the governor and the mayor love to be a part of this event, and they love to highlight it. Another important part of the success of a big event like this is your media partners. Now, you come up with a great idea, you come up with a great event that you feel is needed for the community, right? And now you got to tell everybody about it. So you're going to do that. You need great media partners. Boom, I luck out big time. Because the general manager of WBAL-TV used to be the general manager of a TV station in Boston, which owned the Boston Marathon. And we all know how popular the Boston Marathon is. So he got what I was trying to do right off the bat. So he jumps on board and says, I'm going to give you live TV coverage for 5 straight hours. So not only are they going to cover the athletic endeavor, which is really about 2 hours and 12 minutes typically, That's when the first guy comes in, okay? But he's also going to cover the great community stories, the great charity stories, which really gives this event legs. In addition to that, he's going to give me 150 30-second TV commercials. They're going to play for the 3 months leading up to the event to tell the world that it's coming, to highlight our sponsors. Gives me a lot of value to sell Bank of America. Then I luck out again. WBAL Radio was run by a gentleman by the name of Ed Kiernan. Ed Kiernan is a marathoner, right? So he gives me unbelievable bank of radio time to help promote the event every year leading up to the event. So you can see that I was very, very fortunate in that regard. Then the Baltimore Sun, of course, they jump on board and they're part of it. 98 Rock is WBAL's sister station. Politics. It's great, great politics. The mayor of Baltimore, Stephanie Rawlings Blake, is involved every single year. She starts the race. She comes to the press conference every year with the governor, and they hold the big checks, the big charity checks, as we give them out at the press conference. It's a feather in her cap. It's a feather in our cap to have her involved. Builds the perception of the event. Then, kind of cleverly, is we got Catherine Pugh, Senator Catherine Pugh, who was a city council person 15 years ago, back with Kurt Schmoke, who was the mayor. She comes in, and she's going to be our advocate in City Hall. Awesome lady. Runs up and down, tells everybody how great it's going to be. Gets all her constituents, gets all the people in City Council to support it. Honorable Katie O'Malley is Governor Martin O'Malley's wife, former governor. He just left office. She also happens to be a judge in the city of Baltimore, also happens to be a runner. So you can see the way all these things came together and leverage the cooperation of local government in the city as well as the state. WBAL TV has been really, really good over the years, really, really good to us. Our ratings, believe it or not, have beaten the Notre Dame football game of the week, has beaten the American League Championship Series when the Orioles aren't in it, and has beaten the SEC football game of the week. So people in Baltimore dig the Baltimore Marathon. Why? Because everybody knows somebody that's participating. Somebody in their neighborhood is running the 5K or the team relay or the half marathon or even the marathon. Demographics. This is why the Baltimore Marathon will always be a success, unless we screw it up, okay? And by screwing it up, we do a crappy job marketing and promoting it, or even worse, we do a cruddy job doing the operations and logistics. Because one of the things about the running community that we've learned is your strongest advertising and marketing is the people that participate in your event. Because if you do a good job, they will go tell 5 friends that you did a great job and it was awesome, that our experience was awesome. If you do a cruddy job, they'll go tell 10 friends that you did a cruddy job. So that's a very, very important part of what we do. But we did a study here, and we figured out that Baltimore-Washington corridor was the 3rd most popular serious running market in the country. Okay? And so every year, we have a nice size audience to do our marketing and promotion to. And once again, if the reputation stays strong within those runners, in those communities, they're going to say nice things about us. This is a little slide that I did for Bank of America. And what I always tell the big sponsors when we're pitching them is that if you're just doing it for marketing, don't do it. It's not going to pay off for you. But if you can check these boxes, signature event in Baltimore, the Bank of America will own. They can put their stamp on it just like M&T Bank put their stamp on Raven Stadium, right? They can own this event. Every single sheet of paper that leaves my office in regards to the Baltimore Marathon will have the Bank of America Baltimore Marathon in it. Okay, whether it's public relations, whether it's an advertisement, whether it's a radio commercial, a TV commercial, a street pole banner, whatever it may be. So great marketing, we all know that. We all know about the TV and the radio package leading up to the event, all great value. Great public relations and great politics. Where else does the CEO of Bank of America right? Get to stand on the stage with the governor and the mayor, shaking hands, giving charity checks out, being the good guy in front of all the TV stations and radio stations in the city. So very important. Great demographics. Endurance athletes tend to be educated. They tend to make a lot of money because they're educated, of course. And they tend to be a very calculating group. And as it relates to the financial industry itself, what I like to say is our audience is really worried about two things. They're worried about getting you guys, your parents, getting you through college. So our audience is actually 60% women, 40% men, all right, between the ages of 35 and 50. That's really our audience. That's our sweet spot, if you will. Obviously, we have all kinds of different people. But we have to appeal to those folks, and they are very, very interested in getting their kids through college and their retirement. So it really works for financial institutions, and that's why a lot of financial institutions sponsor running events. Partnership with the city. Bank of America gets to be a hero because every year at the end of this thing, when the net profits come in, we split it with the city. So the city gets a big check for hundreds of thousands of dollars that they divvy out to various city charities. So it's a wonderful opportunity for that CEO of Bank of America. Once again, he gets to bask in all that positive light. Great charity involvement. It's generated over $15 million a year, or over the course of its lifetime, and over $1 million a year now. So one of the things, in addition to the title sponsorship, and I left this in my bag because I had him biting on the title sponsorship, right? So, but this is a next level down, if you will. This is a little concept that I stole from the New York Marathon years ago. New York Marathon does this and have been doing it for a long, long time. I stole the idea, sprinkled a little magic on it, made it even bigger and better. So what the idea is we have the Bank of America Charity Chaser. And what happens is the marathon goes. It leaves. And there's a guy standing at the start line. He's all outfitted in the Bank of America. He's a hired gun. He's a great runner, right? And the PA announcer and the TV announcer come on and they say, ladies and gentlemen, every year somebody is destined to start this race dead last. And this year, it's the Bank of America Charity Chaser. And the Baltimore Marathon and Corrigan Sports will donate $2 for every person that he passes along the way. Okay? And so obviously there's a great incentive. The television coverage covers it at the beginning, a couple other times during the race, and then of course they wrap it up at the end and say, my God, the Charity Chaser passed X amount of people, generated this amount of money for whatever charity has been declared, which, of course, Bank of America gets to choose. So that's a story that we can tell before, during, and after the event. And that's exactly what we do. Of course, it comes with all kinds of different elements, public relations, marketing, etc. before. One of the most important parts of it is at the press conference the week of the event, which gets unbelievable coverage from TV, radio, print, is the CEO of Bank of America will be up there with me and the mayor, okay, and the charity that's benefiting. What we do is we put a big old check. We give them a big old check. You guys have seen them, they'll blow up checks with question marks in there. So it's a little intriguing. Why are the question marks in there? How come it's not $5,000, right? Well, because there's a story to tell. And the story is we've hired this guy, Johnny Rockets. Johnny Rockets is going to start dead last. You're all going to see him because he's going to be all outfitted up in the Bank of America outfit, and he's going to raise money for this charity. We're not sure what it's going to be yet, but we'd like to introduce the CEO from Bank of America to tell you about the program. He comes on, gets his mom and his son, gets to tell the story. Of course, then we hit it during the event, and then at the very end, we hit it again to tell the world how he did. Here's television coverage that also goes on live on WBAL TV, which is the NBC affiliate in Baltimore. We pound it pretty hard during the broadcast and wrap it up. So then, of course, there's a number of other elements that they get as a sponsor, whether it's banners, email blasts, or ads in the Baltimore Sun promoting the Charity Chaser program, street pole banners, etc. Then some more elements, and you can see I was hitting them up for $95,000 per year. And one of the things that we do in our company, which is kind of different, once again, from other sexy sports marketing companies, very sexy, we all know that. Well, because of our events from conception to fruition, we don't hit you for anything else, right? We'll make the banners for you. We're going to pay the charity. We're going to pay the charity chaser himself, because he's got to be paid to do it. And all the different operations, logistical costs that you would incur, Mr. Sponsor, we're going to cover it for you, because we're going to make it as easy as possible for you to say yes. And that's what's kind of also behind our events from conception to fruition. So that is the end of the presentation. I got my fingers crossed on Bank of America, of course. They told me they're going to tell me in 2 weeks, but it was awfully good, and they were excited about it, certainly at one level or the other. So we'll see how that goes. At this point, I guess I'll take any questions that you may have. Anything that you may have, I'll be happy to tell you what I know, which isn't a whole lot. Nothing? What do you got?
What's your biggest challenge in setting up the event?
Good question. There's tons of challenges, and it takes months and months and months to prepare. And the operations, we coordinate with the City of Baltimore Police, the City of Baltimore Department of Transportation, Public Works, Sanitation, et cetera, et cetera. Quick story for you. Last year, of course, the Orioles were in the hunt. And the Orioles, had they won, there was potential that they would be playing a game at Camden Yards the same day as the Baltimore Marathon. Uh-oh. Big trouble, right? Well, we had to come up with a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D. And that's what we did, my whole team. So not only did we have to come up with that, then we had to go sell it to the mayor and sell it to the chief of police, sell it to the Department of Transportation. And it involved a slight adjustment in the course and a different timeline, different change. That's a great question. Who else? Yes?
What's the main incentive for CSE to sell the title ship for the race?
Sure.
Thanks.
It's a big old chunk of money. It's about, we're asking somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000 for the title sponsorship of that. And the incentive simply is the way the business model works behind all the pretty pictures is all the money comes in. So every person that registers for the event, whether it's a marathon, half marathon, 5K, comes into the plus side, if you will, the black numbers. All right? Sponsorships go in there. Hot dog sales go in there. Shirt sales go in there. Everything goes in that hopper. Then all the expenses go in the red numbers, right? And that's paying the police. That's marketing, advertising, promotion. That's everything that it takes to put that event on. You take the black numbers, you subtract the red numbers, and hopefully that number on the bottom is really big and black, right? And so unfortunately for us, it always has been, but obviously getting a big chunk of money like that would make it even bigger, and everybody wins. Because remember, the city's in on it. The city gets half the profits. So they're cheering for me. The mayor's picking up the phone. Hey, you're going to sponsor that event? We want you to sponsor it. Anybody else? All right. Are we ready for? Oh, yeah.
I just have a curiosity
Sure.
about M&T Bank. Did you approach them first and they declined, or how did you work that? Was
Sure.
it happening at their stadium?
They don't necessarily own the stadium. The Maryland Stadium Authority owns the stadium. They own the naming rights for the stadium. Of course, I've been in that office too, pitching my wares, if you will. And what happened is they said, well, we've spent all of our money on Raven Stadium, and they really tried to build their entire local and regional marketing effort around their sponsorship of the Ravens. So, and I think also they know that, well, you end right here. We're going to get ours anyway because, yeah. So, but, yeah, that's a sticky wicket in terms of Bank of America too. Hopefully the CEO of Bank of America has a competitive spirit in him, and he goes, I'm going to stick it to M&T right in their backyard because we're coming in, we're taking over for the day. So that's hopefully happens. Anybody else have any other questions or comments?
You put all this time into Bank of America and you create the presentation and everything. What happens if that fails? Is that discouraging, or do you go and do it for another company, or what do you do?
Absolutely, yeah. So in terms of the sales effort, yeah, it can be very discouraging, very frustrating, particularly when you feel like you spent a lot of time putting together that presentation, which was pretty nice, right? Put together a video for him, the whole bit. It just wasn't a bunch of pictures that I slid across the desk at him. You just keep chopping, brother. And literally, when it comes to selling sponsorships, it's a game of getting as much stuff against the wall as possible and see what sticks. Really, that's what it is. You know, that's simple, but that's what it is. And we have 3 guys that are constantly doing that in my office, and they work very, very hard at it. And the trick is to really put together that's custom designed for that sponsor. Like, I'll give you a quick little example. Like in that video presentation, we kind of just meshed it right in. So we, of course, went on their website, and one of their little slogans was, "You're headed in the right direction." So, of course, that was the title of my presentation to them. We weaved it into the video as well. But don't get discouraged, you know. I've been selling sponsorships my entire life. I work for the NCAA, selling NCAA corporate partners. I work for the ACC and the SEC conferences selling sponsorships. And you're going to get rejected a hell of a lot more times than you're going to be successful. So it's just one of those things you got to get used to. And one of the things I say is the more no's you get, the closer to a yes you're getting. You know? Then the other thing is, when it comes to making a presentation and being nervous, when I first started out, of course I was nervous making presentations. The worst thing that's going to happen is a really funny story that you're going to be telling at the bar with your buddy 2 weeks later. You know, I went on this presentation. It's hysterical. You know, I locked up. I couldn't say a word. Well, I went on a presentation one time with my boss from Jefferson Pilot Sports. We were selling ACC football and basketball, and he had a sweating attack. It was an absolute riot, and he literally couldn't stop sweating, and it was like pouring off him like a Saturday Night Live skit, and it was just hysterical. Then I had a presentation one time. This is a great story too. And when I was working for Host Communications, selling NCAA corporate sponsorships, and we went up to Detroit, and we were, I think, selling General Motors. And he had a black suit on, and we were all ready, and he had gone to the bathroom right before, okay? And he left his fly down. And he, of course, had a white shirt underneath it. And he stood there like this, and he was talking in front of literally like 10 of the advertising agency people for General Motors. And every time he did that, his fly opened up, and you could see his underwear. And of course, I was sitting there, and I was gonna say something to him, but then I said, "Nah, this is too good. we're gonna be talking about this at the bar." So when you do get in that position, think about that. You know, think about it's all fun. You know, just do a good job with it and relax and have fun. Anybody else have any questions?
So after you get your response back from Bank of America, and let's say it's a yes, who's next?
Who's next? Well, we have several different major partner levels. And so what we do is we sell the title sponsorship, right? The big umbrella sponsor, the Bank of America Baltimore Marathon. Then we try to sell the half marathon sponsorship, Care First, which fortunately we have. Then we try to sell the Kids Fun Run sponsorship, which fortunately we have, to Transamerica. We sell the gear partnership to our friends from Under Armour. Awesome sponsorship, right? Which also provides us a great hook, because when you participate in our race, you don't get a cruddy old t-shirt, cotton t-shirt with 17 logos on the back. You get a cool Under Armour shirt, which is pretty good. So there's several different levels that we're constantly pounding out. And once again, it's incumbent on myself and my guys to come up with appropriate and relevant sponsorships for particular companies. Anything else? Yeah.
For a while, was Under Armour the main sponsor?
They were.
Okay.
Under Armour was the title sponsor for 9 years, And we had a great relationship with them, and obviously they leveraged off the event great, and they love the event, they love us. They decided what they're going to do is take their money and build AstroTurf fields for some of the public high schools in Baltimore, which is very admirable, obviously. And however, they're still a major partner, and they still provide their shirts, which is, once again, an awesome hook for us. Anything else? Is it quiz time? Is it time to put the nutter? Hopefully he was paying attention. So I'm going to have to take all those boxes back to Maryland. All right, Nutter, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.